and his identity. And the Lord said to him, would you just loosen your grip on it? Would you just set it down for a moment? And when he did, he picked it back up, and it became the rod of God, a powerful tool used by God the rest of his life to change the world. What I hear in that question from God is, Lloyd, what is it that you have that you're holding so tightly to for your income, your security, and even your identity, that if you just set it down for a moment and picked it up again, God could use it in remarkable ways to change the world and bless thousands of other people's lives. Something that you will celebrate 100 years from now. My wife Linda has been on this journey with me, and at first it kind of freaked her out when I said to her, you know, I was 32. I said, I think that we have enough to live on from 32 to 82. I'd like to give my life to ministry for these next 50 years. And I said to her, well, if we live simply, we'll be able to take advantage of this opportunity. And one of her first questions was, well, how simple is simple? You know, she kind of wondered if we were going to be living in a double-wide trailer or in a slum in Africa somewhere. Of course, following God always involves risk and sacrifice. So we're 18 or 19 years now into a 50-year experiment to live on what God gave us and to see if he can use a recovering real estate developer. And along the way, I said to Linda, look, I've got this 5-year plan and mission statement, and why don't you create a 5-year plan and mission statement? And so I don't recommend this, but what I did was I gave her a yellow pad, you know, like this, and pen, and said, honey, just, you know, it's hard for me to get behind your dreams if I don't know what they are. So she sat there, and we were together in Dallas this week, and she told this story, so it's fresh in my mind. She said, after a while, I just cried. She said, I don't know how. I'm not a planner. It's not my kind of deal. I work in a dental office and love dentistry, but I'm not a planner. And so in kind of a stroke of genius, I'm not sure where it came from, I said to her, well, look, do me a favor. Just draw a picture of what you'd like to do the rest of your life. If our kids were off to college, for example, or high school, and there were no constraints, what would you do the rest of your life? And she did. She drew a picture for herself and shared it with me. And in the middle of this big flip chart was a little house with a smiley face in the middle, and then all kinds of smaller houses around with smiley faces in the middle and lines drawn between them. And so we sat down to talk about it, and I asked her, well, honey, who are these houses that you've drawn? And she said, well, those are all families with young moms who have children that are preschool. And they live near us. We live on Lake Norman in Charlotte, so they live all around the lake here, close to our church. And I said, so, well, why are they smiling? And she said, well, they're smiling because I've been able to mentor them in some way, and they're infusing God's wisdom into their family, and it's bringing harmony in their family. And that's her mission statement today, is to mentor young moms so that they integrate God's wisdom into their family and bring harmony in their family. If you were to walk down my street just now, just a couple of houses, you'd find kids playing in a backyard, and there's harmony in that family because that mom came here and sat in our little breakfast nook and accepted Jesus, and she's integrating God's wisdom into her family. And if you go to momsmentoring.com on your phone or iPad right now, you'll find her tribe of 60 or 50 women that are really being served not just by her, but by a team and through collaborative learning as young moms trying to figure out how best to raise godly kids in this culture. And that's a part of our church. It's not under the budget of our church. We pay for it, frankly. It doesn't take leadership time for our church, but it's totally in sync with our church. Our pastor's daughter comes to it, and she's a young mom with kids, and it's a blessing in her life. It's a church family, and so this is Linda's contribution to her family. All right, so that's a quick snapshot. You and I have an incredible opportunity to use these next 30 years to make an impact for the Lord in partnership with our church, all around the world or at home, using the skills that you've been given and the experience you've cultivated over the last 25 or 30 years. And that's unbelievable. So, Brian, just before we stop and talk more interactively, here's 3 big things I'd like for you to jot down on your notes in front of you. You know, when you were in calculus class or whatever at university, when you encountered a large complex equation, didn't our prof teach us to break it into pieces, solve it separately, and then put it back together? The same is true when you and I ask the question, what should I do with the rest of my life? Now, I'm assuming you may or may not be financially independent, and it's not that important to me. It's probably not that important to you either. The question is, you still have some disposable time and flexibility and options. And even your career could be adjusted if you felt like you were clear on God's calling, and if you saw that your career didn't fit that calling. So when you ask the question, what should I do with the rest of my life? It's too complicated. You have to break it up into pieces and then put it back together again. Brian and your team there can help you on that journey, but I'll just give you a high-level flyover so you can see how you get from here to there. So if you drew 3 circles that converged in the middle, just kind of 3 separate circles, but where they're overlapping in the center, the overlap is really your sweet spot, your unique contribution, just like Joe Penner running EMS and bringing that expertise to our multi-site strategy as a church, or Linda using her experience as a mom to mentor young moms. So the first circle is core. Who are you at the core? Your strengths, your passions, the role you play best, your mission statement. You know, chances are you have a mission statement for your business, but I strongly